So yeah, all the leaders that are going to be, kind of rising of the ashes of all of this disappointment, all of this disappointment in authority. You think that in this world right now, people are wanting to trust anyone or anything? Absolutely not. There's a lot of discernment that is needed right now. And there's a lot of distrust that has come out of all of this abuse of power. So only the people now that are truly sincere and truly acting for the care of all people and of the world and all life, only those people are the ones that are going to be able to lead and get that position of power. Yes, we might say like, oh, that's not how the world works, right? The people get into power all the time, and it's not about how intuitive they are, how much they care, or how big their heart is, or their integrity, or it's about how they appear. But not anymore, because even if a person, let's say, gets into a position of power by anything other than, you know, being sincere, being caring, being powerful, but in a way that is more like this, more feminine, more strong and assertive and gentle and humane. Humane is the word that is like really resonating right now. That person's not gonna have that position for long, because like I said, we're entering in a different age, right? These next 20 years, and just especially right now, right? Because everything's closing out before Aquarius, Pluto and Aquarius, before Pluto goes back into Aquarius at I think it's November 11th, something like that. Yeah, and I'm just looking at this and like, this is concrete. Like I said, people are not gonna be wanting to trust a lot of things right now, especially with everything going on. Like, the world was run on money, right? The world was run on greed. The world was run on self-interest. And now, like, she doesn't even have to have shoes on. Like, look at her go. It's coming from a place of being more natural, more, I don't even like the word pure, but pure in your intentions. No longer can we uphold and give power to people that aren't aligned with being humane. Mm-mm. And there's so many roses here. I'm like, no matter what, like everything that's coming in, the harvest, the bounty with this fall season, it's gonna be big. You're not gonna be able to miss it. And it's gonna be beautiful in the way that nature is beautiful, right? Like with nature, it doesn't have to try. You look at all the trees, right? And they're beautiful and they're all unique and different. You don't criticize a tree, it just is. So it's like all of this bounty, this abundance, this wealth that's coming in after the fall, and all of this quick movement of like almost like the decapitation of these misguided and misplaced authority figures, misplaced in those positions of authority that they should have never had. All of that coming to a fall is going to lead to so much beauty and so much love and so many leaders that are sincere and strong and cemented and grounded in their values. Where we got the Six of Discs, generosity upside down, where they're, and the generosity, Usually when I get this card right side up, it's like, oh my god, like, you have to share this wealth that you have. But it being upside down, I feel like it's almost pointing to the energy that the world has been in. It's not telling us to cling. It's not telling us to not be generous, but it's almost telling us to let this go. To let go this feeling of, this is what the leaders have basically been leading with. They haven't been generous. They've created fear, and they've created scarcity, and they've created a feeling of like, if you win, then I can't win. They built an entire empire on an entire business. I almost heard like a freight train. Like they built a whole train of lies to kind of justify them not being generous. So imagine that. Imagine people in power, right? Not only building their power off of like taking it from others, right? Disempowering them, making them feel like they can't have anything in this world unless it comes from them, or like they would be lost without them, or like they have all the answers and you have none, keeping you disconnected, or keeping the truth from you so then you can't even make the informed decisions. So not only are they getting their power from disempowering others and from suffering and from harm and from death, right? But then what are they doing with all that power? They're literally not sharing it with anyone. Instead of opening their hands, they're closing them. Like, that's ultimate greed, Like, how can you have so much, whether it's, most of it, right? Material wealth, power. And how can you not utilize it in ways that would benefit all, that would be humane? How can you see like your fellow man, your fellow person, and kind of just step on them rather than extend your hand out to them? Especially when you have so much. So we're leaving this behind, and it's teaching us that a person that leads with this care, this intuition, a person that is strong, truly strong, doesn't need to literally withhold from people. They don't need to not give back, They don't need to be stingy. They don't need to take their wealth and not give anything back to the world. So hopefully this is some guidance for everyone, Trust in those people that are generous. Trust in those people that not only are generous with their money, but are generous with their time, with their sincerity, with their heart, with their truth, with their authenticity. Trust those people that are, instead of it like being so like defensive and combative and just competing with each other, trust those people and those leaders that lead with a sense of, the type of world that I live in, I want it to be possible where if I win, you can win, right? Everyone can win. The world is abundant. It's just been structured in a way where in order for people in power to keep their power, they have to keep you living in that it's not abundant. They have to keep you small. They have to, in order to keep their power, right? Because if you realize how powerful you are, maybe you won't need them. But that's the whole point. A good leader wants you to eventually lead yourself. They're only supposed to be a goalpost. They're not supposed to be glorified and like put on a pedestal and idealized as like God, because only God is God.